Hey, how y'all doing out there? This is your Uncle Steve in Uncle Steve's Lounge here on YouTube. Please subscribe, tell your friends about it. Got a lot of Atlanta Falcon content on here, especially this week, talking about Atlanta as they continue their West Coast swing and visit a Seattle Seahawks team, 1-1, who has some very similar traits as the Atlanta Falcons. They just got rid of their franchise quarterback this past offseason. Got a lot of new young folks coming in. Bobby Wagner was cast off and now is playing for the Los Angeles Rams. So a lot of new when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. Now, what's not new is DK Metcalf, who is still a very viable threat on the outside, along with Tyler Lockett, who actually leads the team in receptions so far this year. But the signal caller is Geno Smith. Geno Smith, yes, that Geno Smith, the projected first round pick that did not go into the second round, drafted by the Jets. Ended up spending some time up there. Probably only highlight came against the Falcons, ironically, a few years ago where he had his best game as a pro. Started off this year with a nice win at home against Russell Wilson and his new team, the Denver Broncos, as they came in to Seattle and lost that game. But yeah, I watched Seattle last week against San Francisco, and I will tell you, um, there's just I don't know, I just don't see it. If I really just don't see one how they beat the Denver Broncos, and two how a lot of folks seem to believe that this is a better team than what we have in Atlanta. I guess the only thing folks have to hang their hat on is Atlanta hasn't won a game this year, and we can go to the yeah buts about both games and how we were literally one play away in each game from being 2-0. But the fact of the matter is, we are 0-2 and going into one of the most hostile places in the NFL to play. Um, Geno Smith, is he worth even talking about for a couple of minutes on this? I don't think so. So let's talk more about what the Atlanta Falcons need to do. Obviously, a lot has been made this week on two different fronts. Uh, where's Kyle Pitts is the main question. I have a feeling that you'll probably see, even forced on a couple occasions, see Kyle Pitts get a little bit more involved in this offense. Arthur Smith made a really good point yesterday in an interview he did on Sports Talk 92.9 The Game here in Atlanta about how Kyle Pitts getting all the attention is actually helping out other folks on the team. And I think the biggest recipient so far is Drake London, who has had a very nice start as a rookie uh, coming into game three. I would argue very early in the year that at least his name may be brought up for some rookie in the year consideration. But Kyle Pitts has to be part of this, folks. Uh, not only just because he is a threat, but to justify really what you went out and drafted him for. I said a very high pick, and we shouldn't be coming away with two reception games every time. Got to get him the ball, get him involved, get his juices flowing so he can help us in this game and more games down the line. The other topic everyone's been talking about is because we're 0-2 and because there have been some inconsistencies with Marcus Mariota, is there a thought to changing the signal caller for the Atlanta Falcons? Well, I think in the moment it's easy to say pull him and put Ritter in, but it's still a little bit early, and we have to temper sometimes our I don't want to say expectations, but we should kind of temper our thoughts on what Mariota is. And Mariota is right now at best a game manager. So some of those mistakes that he's making, yes, some of them are extremely critical. I went back and looked at that Cordero Patterson interception, and I know it almost looked like, yeah, it might have been a little high, but you know what, Cordero, got to catch that ball. Got to catch that ball and and help your quarterback in that particular situation. So yeah, he did have the other interception, but and I just feel like maybe take a deep breath. Let's see what he does against Seattle. Again, I think you'll be fighting the crowd more than you're fighting the players. The Seattle team, to me, I think they play right now on emotion. It was obvious the way they played against Denver. I don't think this game is going to be as emotional for the 12s up in Seattle. This is not Russell Wilson coming back in. So while the noise level, a lot of people make a lot about that. I don't think I mean, barring them making a miraculous comeback, knock on wood, I'm not sure whether the fans will be into this game as much as they were on opening night. The Falcons have a nice run game, and yes, even though the struggles were against the Los Angeles Rams, I still think they have enough to go against this defensive front for Seattle. Look for Cordero Patterson to get a lot of carries. Look for Tyler Algier, who will be playing his second professional game. Look for him to get a lot of touches, and let's see if we can kind of wear down this defense. On the flip side, the Atlanta offense loved the attacking style that Dean Pease has. I think he was counting a lot more on his cornerback play, which has been kind of 50-50 early on this year between Hayward and Terrell. I know they'll get it together. I still think both of them are excellent man-to-man corners, but in this game, uh, you're gonna have to forget the last play quite a bit. Some of the best cornerbacks have bad days, and let's just hope that these two guys get the bad days out of the way. Don't get me wrong, Metcalf and Lockett can be problems, but I think if the Atlanta Falcons defense can kind of penetrate this suspect Seattle offensive line, and their offensive line has still not that great. I mean, Penny has only rushed for 75 yards this year in 2 games. I really don't see them running against this improved run defense that the Falcons have. They really didn't allow a whole lot against the Rams in the run game as well. So if we can contain that and put a lot of pressure on Geno, and this be his first time he's really had to, kind of be a passer, I would say. Yeah, the little dinks and dunks that give you 14 straight passes, that's cool, but just make him be an aggressive passer. And I think if you do that, the Falcons' chances of winning the game become much better. Mariota obviously has to continue improving, knowing when to, go forward in the running game and knowing when to not throw that inopportune interception. I look at this, to be quite honest with you, I see Seattle as a 1.5 point favorite. Folks, I'll be shocked if the Falcons don't win by a touchdown. I really do. I think a lot has been made of the disappearance of Kyle Pitts in the game plan. A lot has been made of Mariota's missteps. But what hasn't been talked about is the heart and the motor of this team. Yeah, you can't be down 28-3 against the Super Bowl champs in their house and take it to a point where you were one play away from tying it inside the 10-yard line at one point. You can't say that and say the team isn't giving all they have. And you have to credit that to whatever they're selling up in Flowery Branch, the players are buying. So, yeah, no moral victories in this game, but I do like the heart. I do like the motor of these guys. I think the motor alone should be enough to get them past Seattle this week. So tune in tomorrow. We'll have our pick section at Friday at 1 o'clock. Until then, this is your Uncle Steve talking a little bit about this Atlanta-Seattle matchup. We'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon.